Hello, everybody, and happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm John Rustin, president of the North Carolina Family Policy Council, here with Sharon Sullivan and Jerry Royal on our team. Welcome to NC Family's weekly update. Wow, Jerry and Sharon, it has been a packed week here at NC Family. We started off Monday with our annual dinner in Greenville, North Carolina, featuring Coach Joseph Kennedy, which was awesome. Then we hosted over 40 high school students on Tuesday and Wednesday at NC Family Salt and Light student seminars here at our office and down at the legislature. And of course, all the while, the General Assembly is very much underway. So, Jerry, we had, again, an incredible evening Monday night in Greenville with Coach Kennedy and also with the students with the Salt and Light seminars. Tell us a little bit about those events.
All right. Well, Coach Kennedy, of course, in the last year won an incredible victory for religious liberty at the U.S. Supreme Court. It's just an amazing story. He started out with a very tragic life, but on into his early adult life after serving the Marine Corps, God turned his life around and placed him in the role of coaching so he could be training young men. But part of what God also let him do is at the end of every game to go to the middle of the field on his own, go on one knee and pray to thank God. And he did that. People started joining him. He didn't invite them. But eventually, because people were joining him, he lost his job. And he said he could not stop doing what he's doing because God put it on his heart. For the same reason, he ended up going through almost 7 years in court before this ultimate victory at the Supreme Court. Just a wonderful testimony of somebody hearing from God and saying, I'm going to obey God regardless of the cost. Well, that was interesting because it led right into the 2 days we had with students coming, hearing what does it mean to have a biblical worldview and apply it in your daily life. Specifically here, we taught them each morning those 2 days about what does it mean in the area of government, public policy. Then they went after the morning here, would go in the afternoon to the legislature and hear from legislators about the lawmaking process. And it was wonderful. The first person they heard from was a member who said, number one in your life is your relationship with God. Listening to him. What does he say is right or wrong? What is best for your neighbor? And that's how he makes decisions and encourage them. That's what they needed to do. So it was wonderful to hear a real life application Monday night and then to hear young people being encouraged in that same way.
Yeah, these are really rich experiences. And friends, I just want to encourage you, if you have high school students in your family or if you're grandparents and have high school students that are grandchildren, take advantage of NC Family Salt and Light seminars. You can click on the link below the video to learn more about these seminars. It's a really intensive kind of day-long civic education and, as Jerry said, Christian worldview. And you can schedule a Salt and Light seminar for a group of homeschool students, high school students, even college students who are involved in like campus ministries, that sort of thing. So take advantage of that opportunity. Click on the link below the video to learn more about that. And speaking of American government and civic education, we actually testified just yesterday in the House Education Committee on Community Colleges in support of the North Carolina REACH Act. Now, this act or bill would require instruction in American history and our nation's founding documents as a prerequisite for graduation from community colleges and universities in North Carolina. So students would be taught a 3-credit-hour course on the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Gettysburg Address, the Federalist Papers, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s letter from Birmingham jail, and other key documents and writings that espouse the principles on which our nation were founded, like faith and freedom and liberty and honesty and integrity. I think we would all agree that we could use a whole lot more of that in our culture today. So we are really excited that the General Assembly is moving forward on the North Carolina REACH Act and will continue to be a proponent of it throughout the legislative session. Sharon, switching gears a little bit, we mentioned a couple of weeks ago about a lawsuit in North Carolina that is seeking to overturn requirements in our state law on the administration of chemical abortion drugs. What's the latest on that?
Right. Well, this week, Speaker Moore from the House and the leader of the Senate, Phil Berger, found out that they will be allowed to be defendants in the case that a doctor brought regarding our chemical abortion laws in North Carolina. Our laws right now on the books state that the medication, the first one, mifepristone, has to be given in a clinical office by a doctor after a 72-hour waiting period. The doctor is suing over that law, saying that it's an overstep of government, and she would prefer to be able to use the pharmacies that are now been approved by the FDA to just go ahead and pick up your medicine and do this at home. So originally, the case was brought to the state, and Josh Stein, our Attorney General, has decided that he will not defend it. And so the leaders of our legislature have stepped forward and asked and been granted by the federal judge the right to be defendants in this case.
Yeah, so we're really appreciative of their involvement in this case. Are concerned that our Attorney General is picking and choosing which laws he will defend and which ones he won't. But we will definitely be keeping a very close eye on this because it is incredibly, incredibly important. Because we know a majority of abortions that take place in our state and in our nation are chemical abortions.
Right, with a 20% chance of something going wrong. So we want to just protect these women.
And I believe our radio show this week is going to be the Alliance Defending Freedom attorney who's working with the legislative leadership in defending this.
Yeah, that's true, Jerry. So we'll have a link, gee, surprise, a link below the video where you can go and listen to that podcast radio show on this specific issue. So yeah, thank you. And finally, in celebration of this week's NCAA men's basketball tournament, yes, a sports gambling bill has been introduced in the North Carolina House. Not only would House Bill 347 legalize wagering on amateur, collegiate, professional, and electronic sports, but it would also allow betting on horse racing and dog racing in North Carolina, effectively making our state a sports gambling mecca. The bill was filed in the House on Monday and is scheduled to come up in the House Commerce Committee this coming Tuesday, so they're taking quick action on it. And you better believe that NC Family will be there speaking against this proposal and helping our lawmakers understand the negative impacts that it would have on our state. If you have not already contacted your members of the State House and Senate in opposition to sports gambling, you can do so by clicking on the link below this video, going to our Action Center, and clicking on the Take Action button under the sports gambling action item. You can learn more about the concerns that we have after decades of studying gambling issues, the concerns that we have about the bill and the impact that it would have in North Carolina, and then send an email to your lawmakers about that bill. So, Jerry, Sharon, anything else that you can think of for this week?
We just appreciate you working together with us. It's a vital part of how we can all be involved.
And please continue to keep us in your prayers. They lift us up and help strengthen our resolve.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you. Well, folks, thanks for your attention. Have a great weekend. God bless you, and we will see you next week for NC Family's Weekly Update. Thanks.